Alright, welcome back, and this is the fourth and final series for Chapter 12, where we're dealing with templates, styles, and macros. So in the previous video, what we've kind of worked through is how to set up, create a macro during the recording. So we reported the steps, what we want our macro to do, but the question probably comes up is how do I go ahead and edit a macro? So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. So we created that macro called change look. You'll notice if you go to the developer tab, you've got this Visual Basic icon here. This is a Visual Basic editor. Essentially, what Visual Basic is it's basically an application used to kind of create, edit, execute, and debug code. In this case, macros in an Office application. And again, so what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at this that we created here. So we've got, you go down to where it says modules, and double click on module 1. You notice here we've got what looks to be code. If anybody's ever done any kind of coding, whether it be Visual Basic or anything, you can kind of identify what this code looks like. So we have a sub procedure or procedure here called change lock. That's our macro that we created. It gives some comments here. There's this green text with a single tick in front of it. Those are comments in the code that basically give you the ability to put a description in it, which is our keyboard shortcut. So if you look in here, if you remember what we did, so first thing that we did was we went ahead and we clicked on bold. We clicked on italic, and we clicked on underline. And essentially what this is, by recording those clicks, this is what Microsoft Excel and the operating system, Windows itself, has captured, and basically captured the commands required within Excel and within Windows itself to specify that this text is going to be the selection text, which is our cell, to be bold, to be italicized, to be underlined, and then we have a font, size, all these other kind of properties or characteristics that are included as part of this. So let's just say, for example, you've created a macro and you realize it's not what I want. I don't want Algerian as my text. I actually want courier. So we can go in there and we can change the name. We can actually change the font size to whatever we want. Let's say we don't want this italicized. We just want it bold and underlined. So we change that to false. And what I can go ahead and do is click Save. And as I mentioned before, we have to do we want to save that as find it here in just a second. A macro enabled workbook. Okay, so we'll save that again because otherwise it will not go ahead and save the macros. So I've modified my macro here. I'm going to go ahead and close these windows down. Now I go back in here and I click change look, and instead of it being Algerian with italicized and 11-point font, it's accepted by my macros. It's accepted my modifications to the macros. So now I can go in here and I can change the look and feel of all of those text files to apply the appropriate macro. So that's how you go in there via the editor and edit the macro. One other thing I want to go ahead and show is I want to create a new module. So I'm going to click on modules, I'm going to click insert, and I'm going to create a new module. I'm going to create what we call a custom function. A custom function is a function that you derive individually based off of specific calculation that you need to have done. We're going to embed it in a macro. So we're going to create a macro. We're going to call it, or create a function. We're going to call function calculate mileage. It's going to have two parameters. Now, if you are familiar with any of the other functions that we've used in the past, we have our function name, we have calculate mileage. We have two parameters in our syntax, miles and rate. Go ahead and hit enter to move down to the next line. I'm going to put a comment in here that says calculates mileage reimbursement. Okay, so I have my function call, my comment. So I'm going to calculate mileage equals miles times rate. I have my end function call. So essentially, I'm creating a function within Microsoft Excel that is going to go ahead and for these purposes create a custom function that I can call to execute this command. So I'm going to go ahead and save my document. Now, before I have in here, I just have this computation here. In this instance, I'm going to do the same thing, except you notice when I start typing in calculate mileage, now Microsoft Excel recognizes this as a function within Excel because I created a macro that's called calculate mileage as a function called calculate mileage. So now I can call that function and use that function throughout. So my mileage is going to be 4. My rate is B5. I put those two parameters in there for my syntax. I hit enter. I could go ahead and put in there the mileage. I'm not sure why it's not doing that, but we'll take a look at it. But essentially, what that gives you the ability to do is create a function call that goes ahead and actually that's specific to your calculation that you can go ahead and calculate in here and make sure that all my references in here should be correct. Okay, not sure why this is not working, but it should go ahead and I found it. Spelling error in there, so I'll go ahead and save this. Go back to there we go. And it does the calculation of the mileage in there. So again, that's how you use a macro to create a custom function. Now again, we could have just done a simple B5 times B4 and done the allowed the arithmetic calculation to take place. But what I'm trying to get at in a very simplistic form here and show is that by creating a custom function, you can go in and create the most simplistic calculation, or you can create a more complex calculation where you're doing multiple nested functions, multiple nested transactions in there. And again, just create whatever you want to call the function, put in your references, your syntax, your parameters, and essentially create the macro and the function for what you need, and then call that specifically within your Excel workbook. So again, that's just a quick overview of how, one, to create a custom function, and two, to go in there and edit a macro that you've already created via recording in the Visual Basic Editor. So again, if you have any questions, any comments, go ahead and email me at ryan.free@ppcc.edu.